Hey guys, Sunstreaker Wozza here. Welcome back to part 2 of our every 5-star bot rated for 2024. Tex has joined me back again. Thanks for joining me again, Tex.
Yeah, it's good, mate. We doing the first part was fun, and I'd like to see where part two takes us.
Yeah, well, we left off at batch 5, and that leads us straight into batch 6. So, without spoiling the last video, we saw a lot of the bots reduce down level. So, hopefully, we can get through some of these batches and hopefully increase some of the levels by saying some of these bots have actually become more viable in the game. So, to jump straight off, so batch 6, we put Rust Dust and Scavenger as must haves. Sandy and Octone as good bots. First Aid Reflector is situational. Hotspot and Tantrum is not great. And Goldfire and Ramjet as awful. So, which of these bots do you think have moved since our last rating?
Look, I was using Rusty a lot, but no more. So I look still decent because of the damage, cheap combat equip, like who you can put on it, but just good now. Like not, I wouldn't be chasing her anymore.
I would honestly go as far as saying situational because even with that fire acid meta that we saw really, come to the forefront, it worked well, but not as well I think we thought it would. And I think that her sort of running off, getting in trouble, sort of caused some problem. I mean, you used her more than me, so what led you to sort of just drop her from the team?
So I replaced her with a stronger Firebot. Like it was for me, it was Optimal Optimus was after the revamp and just a more better fitting and a higher HP bot, better passive. So it was just like a totally upgraded Fire bot slot for my war team. But obviously I was just using Rusty up until that point. Because I would change the way that I played. I brought Warpath back in, so there wasn't that skids and rusty opening the way that I was playing back then. So because of the way that changed, it changed what I needed from my fire type on my war team. I was like, well, it's just a bit weak. If I take away that combo factor and just have the fire as a standalone, it's not great. I think the rest kind of stay as is. I mean, I see a few people using Sandy, and it's like it's
Yeah.
good, but um, solid. But it's hard with that rushing, right? So you just got to choose when you're rushing to do that thing. But from a from the healing factor to the combat choices, decent stats. It kind of stays in that good category for me. But the rest, yeah, like I wish Hotspot was better. Like it's such an iconic bot,
Hmm.
right? It's just, but being that warrior, but not getting the warrior effects, just keeps it low.
Okay. And First Aid Reflector still in situational?
Yeah, I mean, because obviously people are still picking the other three healers, and it's just either more of a personal lore choice. But the medibots are not like they used to be. They're not. They're just. How do I say? I don't like the point usage behind. Um, it can cost you quickly, right? It's like we're trying to revamp the triple changer of broadside, right? So when we have those minions, right, like they're just he's you can't kill, but on the medibots you can kill, and then it's like, oh, I have to use that ability again, have to use that ability again, and like, are you really getting good point usage using first aid? I just don't think so versus the other medics, and I think that's why we kept him below those other three.
Well, that drops batch 6 down to 13 out of 25. And then on to batch 7, which was the best batch in the game that we voted last time. Any changes there, do you think? Again, I think there's a few bots need to be moved down again there, even.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen way less use of Rhinox, right? Like even on defense, don't see him as much. So a good bot, a
Yeah, I
good
was about to
bot,
say,
right?
it's
Like,
still good, right? Yeah.
yeah, I think all of those in the top things are all good bots at their core. It's like, but what is more relevant? What are people still chasing? Or why are they still chaseable, right? And it's like, well, I think Smokey is fine where he is because he's so versatile,
Yeah, I
right?
agree. I agree.
Um, I still see people have laser up as their pathing bot, defense bot, good leveling bot. So look, I think those two. Yeah, I think the rest is still pretty good now.
Blades and Dirge still good bots, still relevant.
Yeah, because people are just using smokescreen, take out the anti-hack and use them blades, right? They'll use blades over Perceptor, who we dropped, and they always have people have always liked blades more than Perceptor, and he's still a good bot. It was always just removing the anti-hack core. That was the only thing that stopped him being must-have.
So you think that Rhinox moved down simply because we're seeing a lot less on defense? You think that's the main reason?
I think people have started to use a lot different warriors for the
Okay.
same um, use from an attacking point of view, even from a leveling point of view, right? The amount of zone 15 abuse that warriors cop, and that's all it is. I think the warriors have replaced a certain few bots that were used primarily for certain reasons, and like, am I seeing the warriors who replace them on attack on defense? No, because there's just newer bots, which is good to have more defense options. Uh, I just think Rhinox is a good overall bot to have for everything.
And so that just reduces that down to 21 or 25 for batch 7. And then on to batch 8. So we obviously rated Rook and Blot as must-haves and then had most of the bots around the good section. Do you think any of those have moved? Personally, I think you've got to push Sea Spray up to must-haves. We see Sea Spray so much and so good at clearing an area. I think Super Scourge, if we're talking defense, are must-haves. But then in terms of attacking, you'll never really use them. So I think everyone else is around where they need to be. But personally, I'd bump Sea Spray not to punch up to the upper level.
Yeah, no, I could definitely agree with that. And obviously, as I mentioned in the previous one, when regarding RC, that people are more heavy-handed with Rook, looking for that damage versus the stun.
And that takes batch 8 up to 21 out of 25. And on to batch 9. So, obviously, this was soon after the Warrior buff, where we saw Pipes and Headstrong move up to a must have. We had Red Alert and Run Amok as good bots, and then every other bot in the batch as situational. Now, for me personally, I think the only one that sticks out for me there is Brainstorm, and for me, that is a must-have for me. But I understand that people are going to use other bots as well, including Air, things like that. But I think that slow on that MDS is really important. So I think as a minimum, as a good bot, is it must-have? What do you think?
I think that must-have is a category that needs to be defensive orientated, right? Like just having a full okay, remember it's that whole tick box for me, defense, leveling. You can't do those with Brainstorm by himself very well, right? So very good for wars. So definitely a good bot because good bots are for war bots, right? So I definitely agree, but yeah, probably too high for a must-have.
Mm.
See, that's where I'd be like thinking now that Slash with the new G1 core has also brought her up into a good bot because I actually see Slash being used on defense a lot more now.
Mm.
Good for leveling. I hate when I see the bots start to slip who had such good potential and then just, and it's not just about meta, it's about the bot usefulness overall. And I think Skylinks has gotten worse personally. I
Mm.
think that one needs to drop down to, it's, not great. I put in not great because
Yeah.
why the core, the G1 core that we got made for him, gave him more survivability, right?
Yeah.
Now, then the only other one now is, see, I would borderline saying Red Alert is a must-have because he is everywhere.
Yeah, I probably agree. I'm finding it hard to
Yeah.
really disagree with you, but I don't want to sound like I'm just being a sheep. But I agree. Yeah, you see him literally everywhere on defense um, and on attack as well. So Yeah,
I mean, you put that Vector and Nightstick combo on him, and he is really annoying.
yeah, agreed. So with those changes, we have 20 out of 25.
I start to see a trend that I think we spoke about when we did these gradings that, 20 and above is where a batch should be, right?
Hmm.
You know, it shows you how well rounded the batches are made, either via upgrades or just how they were to begin with and stay relevant.
And then we have batch 10. So this was quite a new batch with this ratings video. So we have Minerva and Flatline as must-haves, Sitz Gun and Trigger Happy, SG Jetfire, SG Thundercracker, and Dinobot as good bots, and Strafe and Thrust as situational. So I think we can both agree from the start, Minerva and Flatline need to be there, not going to move. Definitely really good bots, see them in pretty much every single war team out there. Absolutely unbelievable. For me, Sitz Gun and Trigger Happy, definitely good bots, still in my war team, really good damage. See a lot of SG Jetfire. I think the big question for me is around Dinobot and Strafe and whether they're at where they should be.
Yeah, I mean, Strafe is a no-brainer. That needs to drop down to not great because, like I played with a combo of a Rhinox and a Strafe, and it's actually pretty good. But I'm talking just from farming perspective. Like you can't pull off that stuff in wars and saying that you need a bot to combo with it to make it stand out. Like it's you basically need like a gunner spam team, which I tried with Strafe as well, like linked up with bots like Laser Optimus, Sentius. So all these abilities that went for 15 seconds. It was to keep costing low, but it worked in a harmonious kind of synergy of all these spam gunners. But that what it takes to use a bot and make it in this rating scale when you just stand alone? It's pretty crap.
And Dinobot 2?
A few of us tried to really use him on defense and try to see that, and there was a spike, but it just didn't stay. That's just not as good as we thought the potential was there. One of the highest HB warriors, but again, not a rush bot, so it doesn't gain the warrior buffs like that. And it's just a semi cheaper version that of Rook. Imagine if that was with Rook, wherever Rook cast, Rook just ran. You'd never see Rook on a war team,
True, true.
right? So why do we? That's why we don't see Dinobot on the war teams either. So it was a little bit of a hassle there on defense, but overall, situational is I think where Dinobot needs to head down to.
And that brings batch 10 down to 18 out of 25. And that is it for part 2. So again, thank you to Tex for joining part 2. Join us for part 3 where we'll do the last batch from where we left off last time and add the 2 latest batches into the ratings as well. So again, thanks Tex for joining me, much appreciated.
Most welcome to come do this again with you.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks for watching guys, and peace out.